Nothing the screen has ever shown before can surpass the thrills of
the Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast.
Created from an atomic fireball hurled from outer space,
The Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast.
Threatens man's very existence on Earth.
The Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space podcast.
Battles Godzilla, Mafia, and Rodan for mastery of the world. Men quake before the terror of their unleashed fury. All new, all never to be forgotten. A new high in
Visions from Monsterland.
Hello everyone, welcome to Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space. My name is Jerry, and helping me bring these visions from Monsterlands, we have Mr. Venom.
Greetings and salutations, listeners.
We also have 10 out of 10 Derek.
I'm finally back.
He's back. He missed our Criterion episode, which we'll shame him for later. But someone who was there was the Don himself, Don. It's really weird saying the Don himself, Don.
Screonk, everyone.
All right, we are back. Little delay since our last episode, but it's not as bad as Horror Mafia, so we're okay. How's everyone doing? Venom, how you doing?
I am damn good, buddy. Very excited about our new venture, which I'm sure we'll speak about at the end of the episode tonight.
Oh, we will. Don, how are you doing?
Swamped in screeners and swamp ass.
Fair enough. Derek, how you been?
Yeah, I've been pretty good, man. You know, just recorded Cinema Attack last night. A 2.5-hour show. It was pretty fun.
Nice. You didn't sleep through it?
No.
Let's talk about this problem you have real quick. So, if you guys remember, we put out a nice little bonus episode where we kind of talked about the Criterion Godzilla collection that's coming out. So Derek was supposed to be on that show, but he fell asleep because he has sleeping issues. So shame on Derek. We love him, but he was asleep. Derek, would you like to give your impressions of that Criterion release?
Well, also, I had a cookout that day, so I was a little tipsy, too, so that helped with me sleeping.
So non-professional, we got it.
Yeah, well, you know, it happens. You know, the Criterion release itself, I see where the issues are in it. For us Godzilla fans, in general, it's not like the release that we want, per se, and how we would want it represented. And, yeah, but, you know, with that aspect of it, too, Criterion is a company that releases a lot of films like this beforehand, and these weird sets and, you know, the cliche thing. And for the set it is, it's okay for what it is, but we're never going to be happy as Godzilla fans in general with releases. You guys said it perfectly on the show. None of the releases are perfect to the best of their abilities of what we want from them. But, you know, I thought it was cool that it's it's like a coffee table book and shit. And, you know, it has some, like, cool liner notes and shit from Steve Rifle and shit. I'm gonna enjoy that because I am buying it. I'm probably gonna wait for like one of those Barnes and Noble sales. I'm not gonna buy it right up at the prices.
So am I the only person who pre-ordered it?
I believe so.
I'm a sucker.
Well, yeah, I'm just, you know, for the price that they're charging for it and the way that it's packaging with like few films on each disc, I don't want to spend $200 on that or $160, or I want something like in the 79 range or something, which will probably be on the half off.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, you know what? Watching the film today, it made me really realize like we're never going to get the perfect collection we want, because so many of these movies, like you look at just the movie we're doing today, which you've seen from the title, Godzilla vs. Sea Monster, aka Ebra Horror of the Deep. The Kraken release, has the original Japanese version, and then it has the international dub. I am not a big fan of international dubs because they tend to be very boring, and for some reason, someone always has a really annoying voice. I prefer the Tetra dub. Or, when it comes to other movies, I'm like, oh, well, I like the AIP version more. Those voiceovers, tend to have more... They're fun. They're enjoyable, as where the international dub is just kind of boring. And even though it's more faithful to the source material, I got a little bored because you know what? I decided for today's review, I was going to watch the international dub. I've always either watched the original Japanese version or I've watched the Tetra dub. And I decided, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to watch the international dub. It was not a good choice, but you know what? I did it. I went through it for y'all, for the fans, so they would know.
Yeah.
We are doing Ebra Horror of the Deep from 1966, we're still in that same year for Ultraman too, which is pretty neat. A young man steals a boat to find his brother, but he and his shipmates become shipwrecked on a mysterious island inhabited by a giant sea monster and a slumbering Godzilla. This is director Jun Fukudo. This is his first fucking Godzilla film. He ends up doing, 5 in total, I think?
5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
5.
So that's pretty dope.
This one's son, Giga and Megalon and Mechagodzilla. Yeah, 5.
Yeah. And this one originally started out as a King Kong movie. I'm sure a lot of people know that. But in case you don't, a lot of the things we will see in the movie, Godzilla sleeping in a cave, fucking being woken up by lightning, taking an interest in a female, all things of Kong. This was originally supposed to be fucking Operation Robinson Crusoe or something like that. And it's supposed to be a King Kong movie. And they just kind of switched out Godzilla for King Kong and then just didn't really do anything to, change parts of the story.
It was basically a controls, a find and replace.
Yeah, exactly.
Every mention of King Kong, they just replaced it with Godzilla's and said, all right, film it.
Yeah, exactly. And this is also our last time seeing Mothra for the Showa era. This is the first time that the
No, we still haven't done Destroy All Monsters yet.
Okay. Let me rephrase that. This is the last time we see adult Mothra.
The adult one, yeah.
True,
I was just about to
true
finish
that.
Yes, yeah, correct. Thank you. This is also the first time we see the little beauties not being played by the Peanuts. They are being played by Pear Bambi. So, yeah. Also, technically, Ebra is a shrimp because his name Ebby means shrimp. I don't know if y'all knew.
Damn, that was my fact of the episode.
Oh yeah. Oh, another. Okay, so another fact that I looked at that I just can't really see it. The giant condor in this movie supposedly is a reworked Rodan suit. I could not find an inch of Rodan in that thing.
It's the flying model from the 56 version.
Oh, it's just a flying model? That can explain it.
Yeah, it's the flying one. It's not the costume. It's the flying prop that they used for. It's the scenes when he's being chased by the military.
Oh yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah, it's the Rodan prop from those scenes.
Yeah, it just got very covered up,
Yeah, or deterioration and rot and mold will do that. But yeah, it's the flying prop. It's not the costume. Because remember, the prop is actually based on Godzilla because it's Nakajima in the suit. So if it would have been the same size as Godzilla physics-wise, but it being so small is because it was the prop model from the flying scenes.
Gotcha. You know what's funny about me taking your piece of trivia is there was a piece of trivia I wasn't going to talk about because I thought you would talk about it. And that was the Godzilla suit for this. Halfway through the movie, Godzilla's head changes.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. Arakawa, the special effects director, confirmed that was the last shot of the special effects footage. The attack on the bamboo facility.
Yep.
But because the suit had been exposed to water for the duration of the running time, as well as being in the water in the tank because it was Jirus earlier in the year, the rubber on the suit had actually molded and deformed. So there's, I'm sure we're going to talk about that in depth later on. There's a distinct change to Godzilla's eyes because the rubber's changed. But you
and
can also
eyebrows.
see,
Holy shit, they raised his eyebrows.
But there's another thing too. When you watch him, when you see full-on views, you can also see pieces of the suit falling off.
Yes, I think there's a scene where he's in the water and he lifts up his arm, and you can kind of see something dangling from his arm.
No, yeah, but there's also scenes during the destruction sequence when he's on dry land and he's facing towards the camera. You can see strips of it falling off.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to get into this one. Now, I'm sure a lot of you, like me, saw this on TV because this is one that was on TV all the fucking time. I remember watching it on the Sci-Fi Channel back in the day as Godzilla vs. Sea Monster, that teacher dub, which I love. And then I know for me and Venom, we also saw this a lot as the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode, which I am a huge fan of. It is my all-time favorite Mystery Science Theater episode.
Yeah. I have a little funny story speaking of that. I've never seen that version, but I've read the transcript with all the jokes inside. So when I watched it the first time after, I had all of the jokes in my head. But unfortunately, because I didn't know who said what, it was just a complete transcript of all that was said. All of the jokes were said in my voice rather than whoever said what on the episode. So it kind of was a rather disappointing experience.
Yeah, you got to watch the episode. The episode makes it funny. I know when you told us this earlier in your chat, I'd taken it the wrong way, and I thought you were like, this whole idea is dumb. Why would anyone want to do this? And then I realized you were like, no, it's not dumb. It's dumb because I'm the one doing it in my head. Yeah,
because like I said, it wasn't a transcript of who said what. It was just a transcript with all the jokes laid out. So it never specified who said what. So I didn't know who said what. So, next time I'm watching it, all of the jokes play out in my head, and it's like, okay, I think this is supposed to be funnier.
It's a rock lobster.
Who's that? That Joel or?
No, that was Crow, I believe.
Oh, yep. Okay.
Yeah, Crow says that one. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that. So, so we're gonna start this off with, of course, what we love about this movie. Venom, I'm gonna let you go first. What did you also, just because I'm not sure which one's our first time watches, this shouldn't be a first time watch for you, right? You've seen this before.
Yes, I have seen this one.
I assumed as much. All right, what did you love about this movie?
I'm probably gonna. I don't know how popular this opinion's gonna be, but this was actually one of my favorite human stories of any of the Godzilla movies that we've watched. It was, especially after coming off of Biollante, this story was just a lot less convoluted, much easier to follow. It had much more likable characters. In fact, I disliked almost no one in this film other than the people that are supposed to be disliked, the antagonists. But for the most part, I by the end of the movie, I was like, that was one of the most satisfying human stories. It's relatable, helping people in need.
Getting locked in a cave to make squash up lemons because of a terrorist organization. Happened to me last week.
Of course. But, I felt like even though, periodically the main group that we were watching would split up and we would have like two different scenes going on at once, I didn't think the story was hard to follow. I thought the flow was nice and organic. It felt natural. As far as the kaiju action, I may have a completely different opinion on it, but as far as the human element goes, I really, really enjoyed that about this movie. So far, my favorite of the Godzilla movies we've watched.
So, much like your episode for No Room in Hell, where y'all talked about favorite sequels, and you kept going, controversial opinion, and then you would say something almost everyone agrees with, most people do actually. By the way, go check out that episode. It's fantastic. Derek's even on it. Most people actually do like this movie. It is one of the funner movies. For the human story and for Jun Fukudo's like action. There are some purists that don't like it because of the drop in quality, but this is actually pretty fondly looked at. Speaking of fondly looked at, Derek. Venom. Did you watch the teacher dub? Did you watch the link that Don gave you?
I did not. I'm not sure what I watched. I found it on a file sharing app on my Fire Stick. And I found it as Ebra Horror of the Deep, but when I watched the movie, it had the Sea Monster title card, and it was in English. But as far as what dub I listened to, I'm not 100% sure. I knew the file did say Blu-ray 720p, so it came off a Blu-ray. I just don't know which one.
Do you remember if it sounded like the Mystery Science Theater episode or not?
Oh God, it's been so long since I watched that.
Did one of the guys talk like this?
Yes.
Okay, you watched the international dub.
Okay.
So you watched the boring as shit one like I did. So guess what? If you ever watch the teacher dub, like the link that Don put in the group, which you can actually you can download off that website. You can grab it and download it. That one is the Kraken Blu-ray reconstructed using the teacher dub. And the teacher dub is far more entertaining voice-wise.
Oh.
So
I didn't have any major problems. There were two voices in the whole thing that I really hated.
Trust me, there's gonna be a major difference.
I'm sure there's going to be difference with translations and whatnot, but I mean, as far as the actual quality of the voices, you know, there was that one voice that you mentioned from our group, our four, you know, main guys.
Yeah, it's the guy that actually gets captured and tells all the captives to throw away the lemons.
Yeah, but then the even more annoying voice was the newspaper editor. Holy shit! I mean, thank God he only had 2 lines in the whole movie, but they were just awful.
Yeah. If you watch the teacher dub, it's so much more entertaining, especially the voice for the guy that's the thief. Yeah. Oh my God, his voice is so much. Because in this one, it's not bad. It's just everyone's voice is kind of boring.
A little bit, I can see that. Yeah.
They sound bored just reading the lines in that dub.
Yeah, they sound like they listen to our podcast. They're just so bored. Okay, Derek, what did you love about this movie?
Well, I gotta agree with the characters, especially Akira Takarada's character. I like that he's like an anti-hero in this film, where when you first meet him, he's a thief and stuff, and he's like, I don't want to be bothered and stuff, but he actually ends up, helping these guys in a way, because let's be honest, they're not like the brightest fucking group of kids ever, and I like how he helps them and builds the character and solves problems and stuff, and I do dig that about this film. The characters are fun, and another thing with this character is I really dig is you get to see like the main like military general dude that's in a lot of these Godzilla movies play a bad guy for once. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love in the Mystery Science Theater they make a joke when he's talking to the person above him on video, and the guy's like, because the people just escaped. And he's like, and he says something along the lines of, "You must be losing your sight." And one of the guys in Mystery Science Theater go, "I don't think that's funny, sir."
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. And another side note, I do love that the guy who plays Serizawa has an eye patch on the different side of his eye.
Yeah.
And it's fucking awesome because he kind of reminds me of Christopher Lee in the Three Musketeers movies.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Don, what did you love about this movie?
As always, I'm the music guy. This isn't a traditional Ifukube score, but I thought this was a fantastic soundtrack. I love it. It's, more island based, so there's like a different atmosphere and there's like a tropical feel to it. But the action scenes are really fun and energetic, and I love Ibarra's theme. That is one of my favorite non-Godzilla themes.
Yeah. So Masaru Sato, he's a dude who usually actually does like music for fucking
Kurosawa.
Yeah, Kurosawa. And he came in with this funky music in this one. I have to agree.
Yeah.
I love the music in this movie. It is just so much fun. There is one scene that the music doesn't fit, but we'll get to that in the negatives.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But for the
I know
most
what you
part,
mean.
oh my god, this music is so much fun. One of my favorite soundtracks by far, just
Yeah.
for that fucking.
Yeah,
Derek said
I
it the
mean,
best.
It's a beat. It's like a mixture of Beach Party with James Bond.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, I mean, like I said, Ibarra's main theme is one of my favorite non-Godzilla ones. But then also the sequence when they're first caught by the group and they're having the shootout where they're flying up the mountains, and you have that energetic like spy music that it's going on. Oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah. So, okay, as for me, since character and human story is already taken, Venom, I actually really want to talk about some of the special effects in this movie. A lot of the composite shots in this fucking film are fantastic, especially the shots on Infant Island. They look so good. And then the special effects of them being underwater looked good. I love the transition. During the first fight scene with Ebera, there's this shot of Ebera pulling Godzilla under the water, and they actually show him going underwater. They show a clip of the suit actually going down underwater. Then they transition to their trick photography that just makes it look like they're underwater. It is just pulled off fantastically. Now, Eiji Tsuburaya was not very hands-on with this movie because of his own company in Ultraman. But he picked the right people to do this on budget, because about the only special effects that looks terrible is the Condor. But everything else looks really good, effects-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can see some strings on the rocks every now and then, but, you know, comes with the territory. So, okay, we will move on to what we did not like about this movie. Derek, what did you not like?
Fucking prop Mothra looks like he got fucked by a duck.
Okay, well, me and him had a very wonderful night, and I feel disrespected that you would call him that. That is how he looks when I'm done with him. I think he looks elegant, rugged, and a little bit like a little sloppy bitch.
It looks like he has a duck bill. He kind of looks cheap. You can see like the legs look like just sticks hanging.
I will say the fur on the wings looks pretty. His fur in general does not look nicely white. It is like a taupe color at this point.
Yeah, it looks like they just skinned some yaks and just threw it on.
Someone needs to give Mothra a bath.
Well, it's the same one from '64.
You know what?
It's just dusty.
So
Yeah.
I was
hold on,
actually
I gotta
talking
pull
about
that
the
up.
one when they showed the close-up. I'm talking about the one where they're all dancing. It's a different design. It's like it's a prop one that they put in the background, because when they show like a close-up of it, it's like the one from '64.
Yeah, the one that's in action that you see, that's the '64 one.
Yeah.
Okay, where's that thing I wanted to bring up? Shit, where is it? Fuck. Okay, I wanted to bring this up. I found this on IMDb. Contrary to popular belief, the adult Mothra that appeared in this film is not the adult Mothra from Mothra vs. Godzilla. I'm not talking suits, by the way. I'm talking which Mothra this is. But this made me think of it. I thought it was cool. So, contrary to popular belief, the adult Mothra that appeared in this film is not the adult Mothra from Mothra vs. Godzilla 1964. It was the one that metamorphs from one of the larva Mothras that appeared in Mothra vs. Godzilla 1964 and Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster 1964. So, I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah. That makes sense
Yeah.
for the storyline, you know what I mean? If they're going in like continuity.
Yeah, so alright, Derek doesn't like the way Mothra looks. Don, what did you not like about this movie?
The human characters.
Get the fuck out.
I think, okay, whoever that main guy is, I think it's Rota or...
Yeah.
Yeah, Rota. He is the biggest fucker I've ever... He's one of the biggest fuckers I've ever met. Because he basically strands them on the island with absolutely no provocation at all. So he goes out and he steals a boat with absolutely no intention of returning it.
To be fair, he stole a stolen boat.
But he doesn't know it's stolen.
That's very true.
We know it's stolen because we know who he's with. Because, we see all the interactions down in the cabin between the guy and the other crew members. But he basically abducts the four of them. He strands them at sea with no provisions, going who knows where on a trip around the world on a boat with no supplies or provisions to last the trip, however long it's going to last, and never notifies anyone of what's going on. He just stole some guy's boat that somebody was, for all he knew, was living on it, and he's going around the world trying to find his brother with no plan at all.
Counterpoint. It was a gift from the gods, and you don't return a gift from the gods.
I thought the boat was completely stocked, though, with food.
Yeah, it was stocked.
Food, yeah.
But stocking doesn't matter when it's destroyed in a fucking storm.
Oh, sure.
But here's the thing. He doesn't know where his brother is. So how would he know those supplies are going to last him as long as his trip is going to take him?
Right. But he knows where his brother's ship went down. So he has a general idea.
He has an idea it's in the South Seas, but
it's in the paper.
Yeah, it's still a big place.
Yeah, but you're still going to be... But I'm saying you're still going to be searching however vast amounts of land, and he never confirmed that all of those supplies would have been enough to actually do it.
Let's also keep in mind he's going off the fact that his mom has talked to a psychic a bunch, and the psychic says he's not dead.
Right.
To be fair, also, it is a gift of the gods because he ended up on Infinite Island on a balloon, for Christ's sake.
It's his second gift from the gods. I will give you credit that he does do a lot of reckless shit and basically puts everyone in danger for the sake of saving his brother, and trading out 3 lives for 1, not exactly a fair thing.
Yeah.
Right, but his intention wasn't necessarily... First of all, his intentions were noble. I mean, as we've already said, he was looking for his brother. Second of all, I don't think his intention was to find his brother and then just abandon the other 3. I don't think he was literally trading 3 lives for 1. I think he was just...
Well, I'm talking about putting their lives at risk.
Oh, sure.
Right.
But
he kidnapped 3 people. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's the point.
Technically 1, because the friends were going along with him.
Oh, no. He had just met them. They had no idea that he was going to pull this kind of shit. All they knew is he wanted a boat. They didn't know that he had to go find his brother.
Oh, okay, I guess.
And they were worn out from 3 days of dancing.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, not only that, everybody else is just as surprised as the robber is that they've set sail. So there's no way that they would have known. So they it's not as if they went along with him. It's just, okay, yeah, he's with us, but then what's this dipshit gonna do?
Sure. I did love that he disassembled the guy's weapon before he decided to take the boat out. It broke.
It really was a toy, though, wasn't it? Or was it a real rifle?
It was a toy gun.
It was a toy. Yeah, the guy used it in the robbery, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's very hard to get real guns in Japan.
I'm sure.
But fake ones, you can get them all over the place. Sometimes they turn into robots, but they're all over.
Whatever.
Okay, Venom. What did you not like about this movie?
Oh boy. Well, here we go again. I'm gonna say something that I think is unpopular, and who knows, it might not be popular, but for all intents and purposes, I was thoroughly unimpressed with the kaiju action of this movie. I feel like we spent an hour of this film building up for the appearance of Mothra, and then all Mothra does is basically shows up, does a flyby against Godzilla, and then grabs the basket of islanders and leaves. And it's wow, this is what we were building up towards, for Mothra to basically be a fucking taxi. It's like, I don't know.
She's a bitch in this movie because she just fucking sleeps for like the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly. Then she just decides to wake up. It's like, your people have been in danger for a long ass time. You deciding to wake up at that moment, there was no real rhyme or reason to it, other than the islanders finish their song.
You know what, Venom? Mothra is a fucking god. Are you a god? Do you control a fucking island? Mothra gets to sleep whenever Mothra gets to sleep. She ain't worried about the lives of a few hundred fucking people that worship her. There's still tons of them still worship her. They didn't stop worshiping her. I think it's pretty good that she's a tyrant keeping these people in line. And she does such a good job that they didn't even like go and like, maybe we should poke her with a stick. I mean, they've like taken like 100 people by now. Like, we need to start jabbing her with a stick and get her to wake up. She has them fucking whipped into shape. She is the goddamn Joseph Stalin of fucking kaiju.
Well, I was just about to say, if that's the case, then she's a terrible god. But you comparing her to Stalin is absolutely perfect. So she's no longer queen of the monsters to me. Now she's a bitch that wakes up when she feels like it.
She's the Mariah Carey of kaiju.
Well, actually, to be fair, in this movie, they actually call Mothra a male. So this is actually one of the boy larvas. So obviously, female Mothras are way better than male Mothras. Male Mothras are lazy. They fall asleep while listening to Iron Maiden because that's all they fucking do.
Yeah, well, justify it all you want. I was disappointed with the kaiju action overall. Not just Mothra, too, but even the fight between Godzilla and Ebra. I mean, it was all of what, like 3 minutes long? It's like Ebra had the upper hand at the beginning, then Godzilla has the upper hand at the end, then Godzilla has all 4 hands by the end of the fight. Haha, pun intended.
Greatest volleyball scene ever. Fuck Top Gun. It is all about volleyball in this fucking scene. Venom, you are so wrong. I can't even believe how wrong you are. I'm going to tell you what's actually really wrong with this movie. The thing I don't like about this movie is, why is the fight scene between Godzilla in this movie so bad? Like, Mothra didn't do shit. Like, man, all this build up. Wait, isn't that what you said? Fuck, I agree with you. I'm just kidding. Actually, yes, Venom is very right in everything he said. One of the biggest complaints about this movie and why people do not like this movie is the very, very disappointing kaiju action. I just kind of wanted to make it funny. That's the biggest complaint is Mothra really doesn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to choose a specific scene that I don't like. It starts with the Condor scene. The Condor fighting Godzilla scene is fucking awful. Mm-hmm. It's really bad. But the scene that takes me out of the movie so fucking bad is when the jet planes start attacking Godzilla. Yep. And the music they play, while just does not fit whatsoever. Like this was not the time to play this music. But it's not even that. It's they randomly start and stop that music like 3 or 4 times. It's not even like constantly going. It here it is for 30 seconds, and then we're gonna turn it off for a minute, and then we're gonna start it back again.
Yeah, it's like a loop.
Yeah, it's like they only created like a minute worth of music, so they just had to keep turning it on and off instead of just looping it constantly. And it just takes you out of the scene so fucking bad, which sucks because this is a great island adventure movie. I absolutely love being on this island with all these characters. It's the same reason I love Son of Godzilla, because a lot of people hate Son of Godzilla. And I fucking love Son of Godzilla. It's a great island adventure. It's so much fun. And
Can I ask a question real quick?
I'm going to override what Venom said and say yes.
I was just going to ask, how would you guys feel if it was actually a Kong movie? Would the action be better? Because I see like Godzilla's kind of doing Kong-like things in this movie too, which does get kind of awkward when he has rapey eyes. To answer your question, no, because he's fighting a goddamn shrimp. Well, Kong could fight. He fought an octopus. I could see him.
Yeah, an octopus that could come on land, and like Bela Lugosi fought an octopus. Anyone can fight an octopus and make it look good. But fighting a fucking shrimp that has to stay in the water is just not good. Like, that's why they had a volleyball scene. It's not a good fight. Like, it's cool when everyone was like stabbing the shit out of people. And it would have been cool if like maybe it would have stabbed him in the chest or something, kind of like Biollante at least did. Yeah. But it wasn't a good fight. They threw rocks at each other. Like, it was kind of cool when they were underwater, but they had to keep the shots so close in and tight
Yeah.
that there wasn't a lot to do that. Like, I always hate when Godzilla fights something that flies, because I just don't feel like it's that entertaining. But the fight with Ebra is so much fucking so worse.
Yeah.
It's just not good. I don't like. I love the look of this movie. I love the sound of this movie. I love the story. But when it comes to the kaiju, this is an Ultraman episode.
Yeah. I will say I did like Ebra's design, and I know he's basically just a giant lobster, but I mean, when you think about it, crustaceans in general are fucking terrifying. I mean, a crab, a lobster, a mollusk, if you look at them, they look otherworldly. They don't look like they're from our planet. I mean, have you ever seen a Japanese giant spider crab? Those things are fucking terrifying. I mean, a crab the size of a person? Fuck you. So the fact that all that they did for Ebra was just took a lobster and made it bigger was honestly all they needed, because a giant lobster would be terrifying. And, you know, obviously being that he's a quote-unquote sea monster, it's going to be based around water, which is obviously advantageous for him. But I also thought that actually helped out. Not the underwater stuff, but the over-the-water stuff with Ebra and Godzilla, I thought looked okay. Once they actually engaged in combat, yeah, I kind of lost. I mean, I lost interest, which is kind of sad, because I mean, the kaiju fight is where you're supposed to pique your interest, you know? But but I do want to say, as much as I thought that their fight sucked, I did enjoy Ebra's design.
Yeah. I think the best thing about this is like the whole destruction too of like the base with Godzilla. That's probably the best kaiju related stuff.
No, the best scene in the entire movie is Godzilla playing with the claws. Let's be honest.
That was funny.
That's a valid point, Don. That's a very valid point. But y'all are right. Ebra's design is pretty cool. I do like the design.
I like that they gave him two different size claws, like one for pounding and another for stabbing. And let's give it up for Ebra and his amazing fishing technique. The way that he was able to stab once in the water and pull out both of those villagers on his claw. Bravo, Ebra.
Yeah. Oh, another MST3K joke. Shish kebab and Shishka Steve.
Loved it.
So good. I highly recommend that episode. It's so fucking funny. The other Godzilla episode they did, Godzilla vs. Megalon, is also very funny. But yeah, Godzilla's design in this movie is it gets a little weird when they change heads and his eyeballs look all fucking weird and he's got high eyebrows. It's just not Godzilla's best look.
No. And was it just me, or did Godzilla actually look a little thin? Like, he didn't look as thick as he usually does. And I don't want to say fat, because Godzilla's not fat.
No, that's because they're using the same costume from Invasion of Astro Monster. And at that point, they deliberately slimmed down the costume to allow Nakajima to perform more.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Plus, he was going to be in water a lot.
No, no, because it's the same costume from Astro Monster. And at that point, Nakajima was going to require far more physical activity as Godzilla. So the idea was slim it down, give it more human proportions. And if you'll notice, this is the Godzilla has the longest arms of any costume before. And the legs are really kind of like just like thick, like one-dimensional tubes. There's like no like thickness around the thighs. He doesn't really have like thunder thighs.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so that's from the previous costume. That's from Astro Monster, where it was deliberately ordered by the studio to slim the costume down, so Nakajima's not throwing as much weight around, so he can perform it a little easier.
Cool. How do in general, how do the Godzilla fans feel about the slimmed down Godzilla suit? I mean, have you ever read anything where people,
I mean,
it's kind of like middle of the road.
Okay. Yeah, people aren't like, it's not the worst design, but it's definitely not the best. It's like no one, like it's one of those movies like when you're talking about Godzilla suits, just no one talks about it because it's not. Yeah, it's not the worst and it's not the best.
Yeah, gotcha. There's like no real extreme reaction one way or another.
Okay.
The one that everybody always goes to in this era is either the 64 one, Mothra versus Godzilla, or the 68 one, the Destroy All Monsters one.
Yes, that's mine. Yep.
Yeah, those are the two that everybody tends to go towards.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see champions for 62.
I am one of those. I love the 62 design.
Yeah, you'll see champions for the 62 one, and I think there's a small fan base that likes the Megalon Mechagodzilla, Terror of Mechagodzilla look. There's a small percentage of people that champion that as not the best, but as an underrated design. I personally go for Terror of Mechagodzilla. I think that's the best one of the three.
I don't like those because it makes him. He just looks a little too friendly in the face. He's a little too chubby in the face.
Yeah, it's kind of. He looks kind of weird. He doesn't really have like a dinosaurian look. That's kind of like one of the reasons why it's like an underrated design. But generally, if you're gonna talk about Godzilla designs, the majority are going to go 64 or 68. A few will say 62, and then even less will say 73 through 75.
And no one, and I mean fucking no one, ever says 55.
Yeah.
It's like Godzilla raids again.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Godzilla's counterattack.
Gigantus the fire monster.
No, we don't say that here.
We don't talk about that. We do not speak those languages.
I know we're not on that movie, but like literally, like if you've ever looked into the story of this, it's the stupidest thing ever. Where people were like, the American distributors thought that it would be better to rename Godzilla to Gigantus the Fire Monster, even though Godzilla had marquee value name wise. They were like, no, we're gonna rename it because no one's gonna come see a Godzilla movie. You're fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And they did that for raids again?
Yeah,
yes.
That's the whole backstory of that's going to be so much fun to talk about.
Yes.
Oh,
just to hear Jerry rage vent on that.
Yes. If you get it when we get to watch that one, if you can, the commentary track for it on the Classic Media version, Classic Media DVD, which I do believe is on YouTube, just the audio. It is one of the best commentary tracks out there. As for explaining a lot of stuff.
That's the highlight of the set for me. That's the only reason why I actually watched that one. I think ever since I heard that commentary version, I don't think I've ever watched the movie without it.
I do. I am in the same exact fucking boat. I do not remember the last time I watched that movie by itself. But I can tell you this: I've listened to that commentary at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, I've heard it like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, just to try to like memorize all the information behind it.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, that's so much fun.
Yeah, the again commentary is what sells the Classic Media set. So.
Yeah, the commentary tracks are the best thing about the Classic Media ones.
But
by far.
To bring it back on track for Venom's question, the 65, 66 costume that we see here. No real strong opinions one way or another. It's considered like a middle of the road one.
Mm-hmm.
People really, they're like, it's Godzilla. You know, like that's basically like their entire feelings towards it.
Yeah, and people do point out this movie more for the fact that this is the turning point for Godzilla, where Godzilla became more of a cheap production that we will see for the next, all the way until Destroy All Monsters. But like the next couple of movies in this era are all kind of low, but basically the Jun Fukuda run is for the most part really low budget, reusing effects, reusing shots, reusing suits. But I think Jun Fukuda movies have some of the best character stories as for just having fun. Like, they're not deep and serious like the first movie, but they're really fun, because Jun Fukuda is known for making like action spy movies. That's what he was known for.
Which makes sense.
I love it. So yeah, all right. So we've talked about the fucking suit designs. Unfortunately, this movie doesn't have a lot of depth for us to talk about. Like, it really is just kind of a fun time. I will say, the Sony DVD release and the Kraken Blu-ray release both look great, but you're only going to get the Japanese version and the international dub, which is very boring. But you can find, if you have a VHS, you'll probably find a Teacher dub, which is way better. Or if you look on archive.org, you will find an HD reconstruction using the Kraken Blu-ray, but the Tetra dub, which is much better. Actually, pro tip, archive.org has tons of great HD reconstructions of Godzilla movies. If you need a place to get a bunch of free ones, you can download them from there. The only problem you'll have is most of them are very big file sizes. Most range between like 5 and 15 gigs, depending on which one it is. So, but you can also find a lot of the alternative versions on there, like the AIP TV version and stuff like that. So that I think that's really cool. Yeah. Does anyone have anything else they want to say on Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster?
Nah, it's just a fun movie, man. You know,
Red Bamboo is a stupid gang name.
That's just because you don't understand Asian history. Venom?
You're probably right, because I understand that bamboo has no real meaning in this country, but over there it probably is a bigger part of their day-to-day life. But I don't know. Every time they would say Red Bamboo, I'm just like, it sounds like a person. It doesn't sound like an organization.
Yeah, if you showed up on the streets of America like, what clique you reppin', son? And you were like, motherfucking Red Bamboo, recognize. You will get laughed at. You will get laughed at because... like, they are going to think you are a pussified version of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Man, I spent all day today watching the Wu-Tang series on Hulu, and it's fucking awesome, by the way. Completely sidebar. If you're into that, check that shit out. But we're here to talk about Godzilla, and I guess we're kind of done talking about Godzilla now. So, I think it's time for the fucking Ultraman Report. And great news, everyone. I'm not going to be talking that much during it. In fact, Derek is taking over for the Ultraman Report.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
I don't know why he said that like he's about to have sex with it.
I am, because I watched this episode fucking 15 times this week just to get everything down packed. I'm in depth with Fuji on this episode.
Oh, my God. Before we start this, I just want to say this is going to be kind of offensive, kind of rude. I apologize to the actress, her family, and everyone, but I want to have sex with her so bad. I want to give her a pearl necklace. I would even be really, really down if someone made a deep fake video with her so that I can touch myself while watching it. I love you, and I really wish I could go back to the 60s and not hear whatever sound that was, but just take you and take my island princess from Sea Monster, and we'll have a loving threesome together. It'll be beautiful and wonderful. I will try my best to not disappoint you.
Good luck.
Exactly. I make no promises. And now that I'm done with that, Derek, please go ahead.
Alrighty, here we go. Episode 14 of Ultraman, the Pearl Oyster Defense Force.
This is one that has like 3 different names, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I saw Defense Force, Defense Order, and Defense Initiative.
And the Pearl Oyster Protection Directive.
Oh, yeah, that one too. Nice.
Sounds like it's like the Oysterman fucking incident.
Yeah, I also found 2 different airing dates. The DVD says 10/10/1966. Online on the Ultraman wiki, it said 10/16/1966.
Interesting. But anyways, okay, the Ultraman Report, episode 14. It's the annual payday of the science patrol, and you know.
I'm sorry, patrol.
Patrol.
Is that just the way y'all say it in Boston, or?
I was just about to question that. Was that just his Boston accent, or did he legit forget it's the Science Patrol and mixed it up with Patreon?
All right. Here we go. It's the annual payday of the Science Patrol, and Ito and Fuji are going shopping in their suits, and it's pretty awesome. Fucking Fuji's just admiring pearls. She's like, they're my birthstone, you know? And Ito's like, I didn't know you were into this stuff, Fuji. Yeah, I'm a woman, you know? And a woman of the modern century.
Oh, yes, she is.
Fuji likes jewelry and gender roles.
You know?
I am okay with it. She's a special type of woman, Venom. You don't deserve her.
I totally agree with you that this is probably the best she's looked, but I think it's because it's the most we got to see of her in civilian clothing, not in the Science Patrol costume. So, for whatever that's worth, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and Ito's like, oh my god, and Fuji's like, why are the pearls so much now? I remember when they were like, I can't afford them in my salary. I'm like, and this question's how much does the Science Patrol make on their salary? They should be, making a lot of money for fighting these fucking monsters.
Yeah, do they not get hazard pay? Like, aren't they a government organization? Come on, Japan.
I think most of that probably went to rebuilding their planes or something.
They go through 2 vehicles every episode.
That's true. They had to take a salary cut.
That's probably where most of it goes.
Oh god, that's hilarious. But then the Pearl owner, the store owner, is like, oh yeah, we don't know what's going on. There's been a very abundance of missing pearls, and the pearls have been disappearing around the oceans and stuff. And Fuji's like, right away, I know what it is. It's a fucking monster. And she's fucking raging. She's got the woman's wrath. And she's going back to headquarters to investigate. And Ito's like, I gotta go see a ball game. I gotta go to a movie. I gotta go out to eat. I'm like, how are you gonna do all this in 24 hours? I'm like, damn, they must do everything when they get paid every month or whatever. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's their one day off a month.
Yeah. And fucking, and then they end up, going back to headquarters, and then we cut to the scene where we see the last remaining oysters being transported.
So real quick, I decided, I was like, I wonder what movie he would go see. And so I went and looked up, tried to look up movies from 1966, but most of them do not have American names, but some of the names are fucking hilarious. Okay. Young Boss, The Ambush, New Yakuza Soldier, The Boss of Pickpocket Bay, Flower and Dragon 2, Duel at Dokai Bay.
That's probably the one you saw.
I don't know. He might have went to see Brutal Tales of Chivalry 2, The Chinese Lion, and the Peony Tattoo? Peony? But a lot of them are just really fucking weird names, but I would like to say maybe he went and saw a Godzilla movie. Maybe he went to see Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, because that would be cool. But yeah, if you ever get bored, go look up Japanese movies that came out in 1966, because some of the names are fucking just Sleepy Eyes of Death, The Mask of the Princess, Cat Girl Gamblers, Abandoned Fangs of Triumph.
I'm just picturing in these movies now. Oh god, damn you, Jerry.
Yeah, I had to do it. Like the Japanese silver story I mentioned earlier had 3 or 4 different fucking movies out that year. Maybe he went to go see Gamera vs. Barugon, which is my favorite of the Gamera Showa series.
And why the hell was Ide the only one walking around with her? Does he have a thing for Fuji? Because it seems, especially once we get to the end, which I won't bring up now, but he is very much in the friend zone, and it's almost sad.
Well, he knows not to mess with my girl. You know what I'm saying? He knows that he needs to just help her, and not mess with her, because I will take him down. Ooh, War of the Gargantuas came out that year.
Nice.
Oh, that's what he went to go see. He's a big Russ Tamblyn fan.
And then the list of stuff that he said he wanted to do: go see a show, go see a game, get a meal. Was he planning on doing that with her? Did he think that she was going to accompany him on all of that, or was he intending on going to the movie by himself, going to dinner by himself, blah blah blah? Because he sounded just incredibly disappointed when she wanted to go back to work.
I think it's just her enthusiasm for work versus him wanting to goof off.
So this is how it would go. He would just be like, so Ishiro Honda just put out a new movie, and she's like, oh, War of the Gargantuas? Yeah, let's go see it. He was like, no, he just put out a movie called Come Marry Me. We should go see that. Me and you, and we'll come marry me, please. Which is true. He did put out a movie that year called Come Marry Me. But that's how it went. And she was like, no, there's a monster eating pearls. You knew about this. Duh, it's common sense. And then she was so stoked when it actually came true.
Speaking of which,
Come marry me. CUMMERRY?
COME, like regular come marry me, not
I
in a
know what
sexual
you
way.
mean.
I wish you would come.
Come, comma, marry me.
I wish
This is
any
good.
women would come when I have sex with them. It'd be fucking great.
oh my god, this is getting out of hand.
The female
You're right, I'm
orgasm
sorry.
doesn't exist.
I'm not saying shit.
Okay, Derek, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so after all that happened, we cut to these two truck drivers. They're in a truck transporting the remaining oysters to its located area so they could, keep them in line because they're about to go extinct pretty much because of what's going on. And they find out what's going on right at this moment after they're chit-chatting for a bit in the car. And then this giant fucking beluga fucking whale/alligator fucking thing comes out of them and fucking smashes them and the fucking kills them and starts ravaging the pearls. And then we cut back to the science patrol and they're about the giant monster named Gamma Kajera. Did I say that right, Don?
Yeah, close enough. Your accent, that's close enough.
Thank you,
Gamakuchita.
Gamma Kajera. Gamma Kajera.
Yeah,
It
that
looks
dude
like
is
a dog
ruthless.
Can we just say that it looks like a dog toy?
Well, yeah, he looks like a dog toy, and his tongue looks like a cat tunnel.
Yeah, I just want to touch him. Like I like the texture. I want to touch him. It looks like so satisfying to touch him and squeeze him.
I wanted to squeak him and throw him to my dog.
Yeah, squeak him. He probably does squeak when you squeeze him.
Oh god, fucking, it's pretty bad. I like it. It looks okay in the ocean, but when he's fucking on land, you can see like all the extra layers that he has.
It looks like he talks like he's just like, "Hi guys."
You sound. I picture you would have like the voice of the dude with the international dub. Hi there, guys.
Hey guys, how you doing? I just feel like he'd be dumber than that. Like he doesn't have that. He seems like he's really lazy. Like, hi guys.
Yeah.
How are you doing today? I'm so dumb.
Actually, fucking funny story, real quick. I had to, fucking. Do you ever watch Monster or Highland Buddies?
Yeah.
Fucking, Ebra's voice in that show.
Oh
No.
yeah.
No, I don't wanna. I don't wanna do it.
Sounds like Cleveland Brown.
Kind of. But
I don't watch football, so I don't know anything about the Cleveland Browns.
You racist piece of shit. Before we move on, there was something that I wanted to bring up now that we're right at this point. I'm not sure if this particular episode had a new cinematographer, but did you guys notice some of the very interesting shot selections throughout this episode?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the director.
That's the okay because
Yeah, that's the director. That's Akio Jisoji.
okay. Because
Yeah.
the very first one was the one of the two guys driving the truck where the camera's actually pointed at the blind spot mirror reflecting their image. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just use the regular rear view mirror? Why are you using the bubble that's the blind spot? That's what I meant to say, the blind spot mirror.
Yeah,
Actually, I noticed it earlier than that when they're still shopping and they're walking down the street and they're talking about like what could when Ito's kind of like, oh, I guess it's just a fucking monster. There's a shot of them walking and like you kind of can't even see them because there's like just a car parked randomly and the camera's kind of like behind the car following them. And I was just like, that is such an interesting shot. Like I really like this shot.
well,
And then
there's
throughout the
one-
rest of the episode, you notice it.
Yeah.
There's one even earlier than that. It's in the store in the very first scene. There's a reflection where Fuji and Ito are reflected in the pearls on the display stand,
Yes.
and
Yep.
they're talking to the camera. They're talking to the sales counter who's in the background in the main shot. But then Fuji and Ito, they're reflected on the pearls in the display case. They're not in the same scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You see
it's really
Fuji and
odd.
Ito. You see Fuji and Ito reflected in the pearls on the display case, but then you see the counter guy talking to them in the background, who's regular sized.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the director Akio Jisoji.
Yeah.
Because this is the first of several episodes actually that he did,
Mhm.
and he's during that time he actually graduated from doing special effects shots, special effects shows, and he started doing like regular traditional art house movies.
Huh.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to make it sound like I hated every shot, because there were some shots that were actually great. Specifically, the shot of Fuji on the radio trying to contact headquarters, and you can see that window above her shoulder,
Yeah,
and there's Gamakujita right behind her. That shot is actually stellar.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the one that I like. But
So
yeah,
it's interesting is all. Like, there's some really good shots, and there's some that you're like questioning, why did you go with that shot? So you could tell it's like a new director, or like I said, I thought cinematographer, but yeah, that makes sense. New director.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's.
And I do want to say, with all the mirror shots, Super Raya like should have just let him direct every episode of Mirror Man.
That makes sense. But anyways, so the Science Patrol know that this monster is on patrol, so they're getting ready to go out, and they're like, Fuji, are you okay? It's a woman's wrath, and her eyes look bloodshot and all pissed off. She's like, you're fucking with my birthstone, motherfucker.
And that's a weird shot too, or not so much the shot, but just the decision by the director to hold on Fuji's face for that long, because she's just staring, giving the side eye to Gamakujita, and the shot stays on her face for like a good 4 or 5 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in television terms, it's a lot. And I found it strange. It's like, is she falling in love with him, or is she pissed off at him? Like, I couldn't read her face. It was weird.
What the hell is that? But anyway,
I was trying to look up something about Mirror Man, and it was one of the sites that like decided to just start playing shit.
That's fucking funny, man. Yeah, so they end up going in their super powered jet and start fighting Gamajera through this air, and then we find out he has a very interesting defense mechanism where he fucking decides to shoot fucking heat rays out of his fucking blowhole, like, and then it damages the ship, and they have to end up landing, and they call headquarters to get more reinforcements while they do repairs on the ship, and they end up spending the night with Gamakujira on the other side of the island, just chilling, and they had during the bonfire scene, they start hearing this weird noise. And I believe it's Hirashi who's like, I know that noise. It's like a cow. It chews the pearls at night. And this pisses Fuji right off. She runs right to the beach and is like, starts bowing to him like, Gamakujira, please just give me fucking one. And all the guys are like, what the fuck is up with her? Their reactions are priceless. Like, Ito is they're all looking at Ito like, don't look at me. I don't know what to do. It's pretty fucking funny. I like that scene a lot. And then it goes to the next night. They got another plane to help with their counterattack, where they're gonna end up fighting the monster again, because it's ended up going to journey off and start to go into the major cities to search for more pearls. So we have Hayata in one ship and the rest of the crew in like the main ship, and they start doing like a nice counterattack to try to get away from that heat ray that comes out of his blowhole in the top of his head. And it works for the most part, besides until he starts to submerge. So they decide to use guide balloons again, which we haven't seen in a while. Last time we saw those was in that one with Red King. Not Red King. What's the name of the little monster there that was in that episode with Red King? Pigmon. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Don. And, they're just chilling, and there's like underwater. Kind of remind me of Jaws. I wonder if Spielberg saw this episode. When I saw it, I'm like, oh no.
That's fair.
Yeah. And fucking, so they start throwing bombs on him. It doesn't work, and then they decide, it's time to start doing the electric net defense situation, where they have this giant net attached to both ships, and they capture the monster and threw him in the air and start electrocuting him. It's not really doing anything, though, and pretty much what ends up happening after that is the monster ends up crashing Hayata's ship, and Hayata is injured on the beach, just laying there. Of course, what else is new, Hayata? And then, of course, Monster ends up going to this. This turns into humanoids from the deep for a minute because there's like this group of girls on the beach just swimming and having fun, and the monster's like, "You got pearls? I need my pearls, motherfucker." And then fucking, they're like all running away, and the car gets stuck in the mud. It's pretty fucking funny, and it's fucking awesome. And then they're on the land, and they're trying to see what they can do. We must fight this monster and stop it. And they decide we must do one more defense. And they're like, pearl bombs. Why didn't we use these before? And then they have these pearl bombs, and they go back in the ship. And of course, Harashi and it's weird in the translation because in the subtitles, it's not even talking about it. Because in the dub, they're talking about Luke's gonna go find Hayata, but they're talking about the pearl bombs in the subtitle version, if that makes sense. Like, because I was reading the actual subtitles with it, so it was kind of jarring how different like the dub is to the subtitles sometimes. So that ends up happening, and they use the pearl bombs, and they're like, and the ones inside them start going off too, and then they find out this doesn't work, and it actually makes him stronger and shit. And he starts standing. This is the first time he actually ends up standing on his hind legs, and Fuji finds Hayata. He's injured, and Hayata has the bright idea: you must get like this small engine rocket and attach it and use it. And they end up doing that, and what's ends up happening is there's like this giant rocket attached to the fucking plane, and they shoot it, and it goes right in the fucking monster's ass.
And I just want to say, this is a common thing in the South. Lots of people shove rockets up frogs' asses and try to launch them into space in the South. This is a common thing. So just putting that out there.
And this is when it turns into the dog Chew Choy more, and you see this fucking dog Chew Choy and this fucking toy rocket fucking shooting in the air. And this is when it's time for Hayata to take out the beta capsule and turn to Ultraman. So, Don, take it away, buddy.
Okay, Ultraman takes to the sky as the science patrol arrives on the scene looking for Hayata. He approaches the helpless creature struggling against the rocket flying it through the air, only to suddenly make a U-turn and head for Ultraman. Putting his arms back, the two beings collide and explode in a fiery crash, which allows Ultraman to fly away unscathed.
Woo! Whoa, that was long.
Don, can you shorten them up? They're going on too long.
I'll do my best.
I missed the sexual explicit ones that he used to do, like the plant one.
Well, unfortunately, you already talked about the rocket up the fucking creature's ass. The creature's already been sexually assaulted.
Okay, so my question is, once the rocket was in Gamakujira's ass, was he controlling the direction that he went? Like, was he actually using it as a booster? Like, did he actually perform that
You
U-turn?
Underestimated his ass muscles.
That's what I mean. He's got, he must do Kegels because he's got spectacular muscles.
It's so weird. He looks so fucking dumb in the face. Like, when you look at him and you think about what's in his head, all I can think about is that song, Kama 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 Chameleon. Except instead of saying that, is Gama 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 Kajiria.
His eyes
rocket in my ass. Oh, and speaking of his speaking of his eyes, did y'all notice that scene? Like, I think it's right after he gets the balloon tags on him, where he's going on water. His eyes start filling with water, and one of them shorts out.
Yep. I noticed it. I noticed it on the last watch I did. I was like, holy shit.
Also, I want to say, I don't know why I noticed it. We've talked about it before, but this episode makes me realize Hayata could really save the Science Patrol a lot of money, a lot of time. He could keep all his friends out of dangerous situations by just going, by the way, guys, I'm Ultraman, and when the monster shows up, I'm just going to turn into Ultraman and fuck it up.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fucking funny. Like,
I mean, this is now the 14th time this has happened, and no one on the Science Patrol is any wiser. That makes me kind of question their brain power. Because, I mean, hell, it only took MJ a half a movie to figure out that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man. Whereas these, I mean, 14 episodes, and you can't figure out that Hayata's not around when Ultraman's there. And that he magically reappears when Ultraman leaves. I mean, I understand it's the 60s, suspension of disbelief, blah, 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 but goddamn, how dumb are Science Patrol?
Maybe we need to have Hayata and Fuji
Well, here's the thing.
kiss with, like, Fuji wearing a very see-through, like, shirt and it's raining and I can play Hayata and
yeah, but that's just
we can
for
just
you.
Spider-Man kiss.
That doesn't help the audience.
Well,
It will help her figure out who Ultraman is.
Well, here's the thing, Venom. You're talking about a corporation whose greatest plan is to shoot a rocket up a creature's ass. That's their ultimate high-end,
That's their last defense.
their last resort.
And how they could not beat a monster whose only superpower is a blowhole?
Amazing.
It's great. And, I was just dying laughing that whole fucking flight, and they just start playing chicken, and then boom.
It's funny because Ultraman is actually getting me to dislike four-legged kaiju. Because every time there's a four-legged kaiju, it just seems like the suit is too big. It's folding over itself. I mean, if you look very carefully, there was one shot in today's episode where Gamma Kujira's foot actually folded over on itself when it took a step, and it didn't even react. Whereas if we did that as a human, you would scream in pain. So it's just... it seems like because it's a four-legged kaiju, they purposely make it a little bit bigger so the actor has more mobility, but it's almost counterproductive because it just looks terrible.
God, how is he going to react to Gavadon next episode?
Oh, Jesus. You know what's funny? When I was doing my research on Gamma Kujira, on the wiki, it says subtitle, Tide Wipe Monster.
Tide Wipe?
Tide, like as in a tidal wave, tide.
Right.
Wipe, as in wiping your ass after a rocket went into it. Monster.
That's great.
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? And then, like, under its, like, powers, superpowers, it goes, it has a water spout that can release high-pressured water, and it has a really long tongue. It's like, great, fucking thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
That tongue was also counterproductive. They should have come up with
melted.
They should have come up with some kind of creature with a trunk or something, like an elephant's trunk, and tried doing something with that, because that tongue was awful.
You know what it honestly looked like on the first glimpse? It looked like a straw vagina.
Yeah, no, I'll go with that. Attached to a cat tunnel.
Yeah. Oh, as we like kind of diss on this, I do want to talk about a scene I really want to compliment. The sound design of them around the campfire is really good, between the fire cracking, then talking, and then the
pearl chewing noise.
The pearl chewing, like that sound design was really fucking solid.
Yeah.
And honestly, I do like the aspect of, even if the fight itself sucked, this is I think it's actually a better episode of the Science Patrol working together.
I think it's great because it was a Fuji episode.
Yeah, that too. It's good character development. That characters that we don't really spend a lot of time on.
Yup.
Oh, we didn't even finish what happens at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so after that, Ultraman flies off, and then it cuts to this lovely music playing, and Fuji's trying on her pearls, and she's like, "They're my birthstone, And then it cuts to inner city Japan or wherever they are, and Ito's carrying 9,000 fucking packages, and Fuji, could you help me? And Fuji's like, "Fuck you, motherfucker."
Friend zone.
And then go ahead.
No, I was just saying he ain't never getting nothing from Fuji. If she's got him carrying all those boxes and she's not carrying one, he's not getting within 3 feet of that pussy.
And that's how it ends. It cuts to dark, and he's like, "Oh!" Like one of the packages is about to fall.
Yeah, I felt so bad for him. I always feel bad for, when I see like characters in the friend zone, because it's just, oh God, because I was that blind too, and I kick myself every time for being that blind. Ugh.
Yeah, same here.
It happens.
Oh, it happens a lot.
Not me. I get fucking pussy, son. I get laid. I be out there slaying it. Like, y'all don't even know. I mean, I've been with the same woman for 10 years, but before that, fucking out there working it.
Oh my God.
I mean, I disappointed them all, so I only got laid by them once each time, but it still counts.
Hey, a minute and a half of sex is still sex.
So,
Oh, yeah,
Tell
by
that
the
to
time...
Tell that to Peg.
No,
true.
by the time that she figures out that I've got a small penis and I don't know how to work it, I've already come. So, I'm already gone.
it happens.
You know what I'm saying?
But anyways, that's the end of the episode, and yeah, what did you guys, Jerry, Mr. Herring, what did you think?
Yeah. You can just say the Jerry that gets pussy. As I have established that. No, I really liked the episode, actually. The monster looks dumb. How they beat the monster is dumb. But Fuji was getting it, and that's all I care about. Like, I love character-centric episodes because I like knowing a little bit more. And it was nice to have, Fuji out here rocking pearl necklaces and just, looking fine. And, like, she's an independent woman who don't need no man except to carry her packages. But I had fun with the episode.
Nice. Don.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a traditional, just, Science Patrol finds a monster and spends half the episode trying to stop it, only to rely on Ultraman to finish the job, literally. But yeah, it's, you have several great confrontations with it. You learn a lot about Fuji, which is a nice little side story. I mean, maybe, I would have wanted, a battle between Ultraman and Gamma Kujira, but after seeing that costume, I'm not entirely sure how that would have worked. So,
True that.
Yeah.
I want to see Ultraman mount it.
Oh, God.
Well, wait for Skydawn. I'll just say that.
Yeah, for real, because they reused the costume there.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
We'll bring that up on that episode.
Oh,
about
boy.
a year from now.
That's awesome. Venom.
Despite Gamma Kujira just looking terrible, and despite the fight making very little sense to me, especially the ending, like, I still don't know what happened when they butted heads in the sky, and suddenly there's a random explosion, and one is gone and one is unscathed. I don't know. It's a lot of suspension of disbelief.
Now you know how all women feel when they have sex with me. It's
Okay.
This episode. There's a whole lot of foreplay. 30 seconds of something happening, and they're really confused.
Exactly. So, but despite all of that, despite the weak kaiju and the weak kaiju battle, I actually really, really like this episode. Not necessarily just because we get to see a lot more Fuji, but just getting to see any of the Science Patrol outside of a Science Patrol situation, seeing that they're real people, that they're relatable. They like to shop. They like to go to the movies and eat dinner and blah, blah, or go out to eat. Excuse me. We all like to eat dinner, but it adds a certain humanity to the characters that I didn't have before the episode. And just like today's movie, the human story here I thought was stellar and really carried the episode much more than the kaiju threat. So so yeah, despite the weak kaiju, dude, this is probably one of my favorite episodes of Ultraman, just because of getting to see more Science Patrol.
Nice. Same here, man. I always dug this one. And then, after I watched it 15 times to prep for writing notes on it, I wasn't bored each time. I like, Fuji, get him. I want fucking Fuji to just take that fucking beta capsule and become Ultra Woman. Fucking kill him. That would have made the episode even better. Like, I would see Fuji like ripping the fucking thing's jar open and shit.
Yeah, but if she became like Mrs. or Ultra Woman, I'm pretty sure Jerry would ruin a pair of pants.
True. It would make me buy a beta capsule vibrator.
Yeah, and that's the Ultraman Report, guys. It's got a little sleazy and dirty this one.
Yeah, this episode was more of a relaxed, fit, fun episode. We kind of loosened up a bit. Said some things we shouldn't have said in a situation that's recorded.
And it's usually me that says those things.
I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we'll of course see you next episode for a non-Godzilla episode.
Actually,
next
we're doing Ultraman.
Yeah, next episode is nothing but fucking Ultraman. Each one of us are going to do our own Ultraman episode with I guess someone's gonna have to take over the Ultraman fight for Don, but for the most part we'll still let Don do his fight breakdowns. Someone will just have to do his fight breakdown. Maybe we'll make Derek do it because that's kind of funny. But we'll all do that, and we'll figure it out. That'll be the next episode. It's episode 15, all Ultraman, all motherfucking day. Swag Ultraman to the moon. Yeah, that's our episode for this week. So now let's get into what we all got coming out. We're going to promote ourselves, pimp ourselves. This is the part where you get to hear all the fun episodes that you can go listen to that we all talk on. So, Derek, what do you got?
Of course, Cinema Attack is finally coming back to the return of Cinema Attack. Starts out next week. That should be out. And we also have an episode of Celluloid Dissections out there on Peter Jackson's Bad Taste with me and Miss Carly. Check that episode out. It was a fun time talking about that movie with her. As always, it was the first time watch for her and discovering movies for the first time. I dig that aspect of our show. Another thing that, of course, No More Room in Hell, which should be recorded next Sunday, should be coming up with me and Mr. Venom, and it's a show I chose, so that's always awesome. Right, Venom?
Look out for aliens.
Oh, yeah. We were going to be talking about Without Warning and The Deadly Spawn. Can't wait to get into those. And, that's about it. I have a few guest appearances coming up in the future. Kind of keeping those a little hush-hush for now until they actually get recorded and get released. Kind of want to surprise people. But that's about it for me.
Okay, Don, what do you got coming up?
All right. Contrary to what I've been saying for the last month, Horror Mafia is not doing Lords of Salem. Joey apparently got cabana fever and decided to pull a switcheroo on us. So instead, we are going to be doing the Banana Splits.
You know what? Okay. You know what? Joey. We're about to make an offer you can't refuse. You will wake up with a horse head in your bed, cement shoes, and then when next time you go to sleep, it'll be with the fishies. We want our Lords of Salem. And you will fucking make it happen somehow. I'm so tired of Don coming on here, exciting me with Horror Mafia news, only to take it away. If I offer for you to come over to my house and I'm like, yo, I got the spaghetti, I got the gobblagoosh and whatever fake Italian words you use, and I get there and it's fucking hot dogs, I'm kind of pissed off. I'm a little irritated at that. So quit fucking around with Don's feelings. Quit breaking my heart, you fucking Fredo, and make this shit happen.
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
Come back, motherfucker.
Yeah, we'll come back with that. Other than that, we are in the final stages of the releases for my Summer of Shark series on NFW. I think the newest one is Sharknado 2, the second one.
Woo! Yeah, because y'all have dropped Meg, Piranha, and Sharknado 2. I think those are the three recent ones I've seen.
No, we did Piranha 2.
Oh, Piranha 2, The Spawning.
Yeah, Piranha 2, The Spawning. Yeah, we did that one.
James Cameron's best movie.
Exactly. We did that. We did Ghost Shark, The Meg, and I think then we did the original Piranha.
Yeah.
And then now the new one is Sharknado 2. And then the last one that's going to be coming out next time after this one is going to be The Beast, the miniseries from Peter Benchley.
Oh, yeah, the Peter Benchley one. Nice.
Yeah, that's the last one that I did with them. So
Nice.
that's our Summer of Sharks / Sea Creatures.
Yeah, you see what you're doing, Joey? You're making them go down to a lower podcast like NFW and doing commentaries instead of a high-quality movie discussion that breaks down the racial divide in the history of oppression that you would see in these thought-filled I'm just kidding, it's Horror Mafia. I'm Slater out. I can't wait for Horror Mafia to come back. Poor Bill's probably just sitting around jacking off the Twitch streams because he's got nothing better to do because y'all won't record.
I wouldn't put it past him.
So, fuck. Okay, Venom, what you got?
All right, I am very happy to announce the return of the Horrorcast. We recorded our first episode in 6 months. We had a discussion on creepy kids in horror cinema. From Rhoda and the Bad Seed all the way up to this year's The Prodigy.
Would you say you like the creepy kids more than you like the goofy kids in kaiju movies?
Yes. I don't think it's even close. And then on that episode, our 2 movie reviews are for Alice Sweet Alice and 2019's The Hole in the Ground. That episode is being edited as we speak and should be out sometime next week, potentially the week after. It'll definitely be mid to late September. No More Room in Hell.
Funny enough, I used to know a girl who was very sweet named Alice, but we just called her Hole in the Ground.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, I'm full of bad jokes tonight. Continue. No More Room in Hell.
No More Room in Hell, as Derek already mentioned. Our last episode, we looked at a couple of werewolf movies. We looked at a couple of Joe D'Amato movies.
I was about to say, sir.
I'm way behind, yeah. We looked at Anthropophagus, and Absurd, its spiritual sequel. On the next episode, as we already mentioned, we're going to be looking at a couple of alien invasion films. That should be fun, both from the early 80s, one of them with a really stellar cast. And these will both be first-time watches for me, so that's going to be interesting. Latest episode of Fresh...
Without Warning, that's the one where the poster looks like it's Freddy Krueger on it?
I think so?
Maybe.
Every time I see the poster for Without Warning, I have to remind myself that it's an alien movie and not a Freddy Krueger ripoff movie. Because the poster, on the poster, look at it. It looks like Freddy Krueger. It looks like it has a glove. It looks like it.
Well, funny enough, that came out before Freddy was even a thing.
Oh, yeah, nice.
81,
yeah.
Right?
80.
80.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it was right around the same time that the inspiration with the kids were being killed. I think it's the same time. So it was the inspiration for Freddy rather than actual Freddy. So
cool. All right, on No More Room in Hell presents Fresh Cuts. The last episode we looked at the recently released theatrical movie Ready or Not. JP from 22 Shots of Moods and Horror was our guest on that episode. Our next episode, which actually records in 2 nights, we're going to be looking at probably the biggest horror release of the year, It Chapter 2. Not 100% sure who our guests are going to be, but I'm sure we're going to have a couple because I'm positive a lot of people in the community are going to have a lot to say about this film, including myself. I've already seen it twice. I'm going to watch it one more time tomorrow before we record on Tuesday. So I got all my Easter eggs and everything collected for the episode. So that should be fun. Look for that later this week after this episode is released. On the latest episode of Theme Warriors, we looked at underdog stories where the underdogs lose. The episode actually was released last week. I know that's another episode that I had been talking about for the last couple of months, but because of scheduling issues, it just took us a while to get together and record it, but it is recorded. It is out in the ether, so check that out. Our next episode, which records sometime in late September, is going to be movies based on foreign TV shows. So we're going to have 4 movies in that particular subgenre. So, without releasing any actual titles, look for stuff like potentially movies based on anime, movies based on like Monty Python or Mr. Beast,
okay.
stuff like that.
I was kind of like, I was trying to figure. I was like, so are they going to talk about like was we were talking about TV shows? I was like,
Yes.
I really can't think of any like an American movie that's based off a TV show. I mean, I guess
I've got a list of like 40 of them.
Yeah, that's a niche topic if I've heard it.
Oh yeah,
it's a great. You got to give us some on Mafia so we don't. I want to hear some of these titles.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll let you know as soon as they're solidified. Where are we here? And the last one I'll discuss is the Slice and Dice Dreadcast, which I do with Joey from the Horror Mafia, who of course has been on vacation. So the same delays
2 years now.
So the same delays that the Horror Mafia is experiencing, we're also experiencing on Slice and Dice Dreadcast. We hope to have that episode recorded before the end of this month. We already know what the next episode is going to be, so I really want to get on top of that as soon as we can. So look for that. And then the last, which I'm not going to talk about, I will defer to my partner, but my latest podcasting venture started this week, and as I said, I'm going to defer to Mr. Herring as he is my co-host on that one. So go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, I'm going to start with that one. So a big passion project me and Venom have been working on for months now. Finally came to fruition. We put out our first episode. It is called Cult Unknown, where Venom and I are going to be looking at many of topics in the supernatural, cryptozoology, occult, blah, blah, blah. We dropped our first episode ever on Bigfoot, where we not only talk about the history of Bigfoot, theories of Bigfoot, stories of Bigfoot, but we also review the movie Exist from 2014. And then we also, in the movie, talking about SCPs. And if you don't know what SCPs are, check it out because you will find out, and it's very fucking interesting. So it's a very, like, huge thing. Like, we took so many notes. We used, half the notes we have, if that?
Less for me.
Yeah, because we could have went on for, 3 or 4 hours. Yeah. We really could have, but we are going to try to keep it under 2 hours. We're not going to cover everything, but we are going to cover some of the most interesting stuff. So check us out. Cult Unknown. It is obviously on the same feed as this, Kill the Cast. And you can check us out and let us know what topics you want us to cover. And I'm just super excited about it. I feel like we really nailed the first episode, knocked it out. We still have some experimenting to do to figure it out. But this is a much bigger show. We had to involve it was 2 weeks straight of nothing but Bigfoot for us. It's a lot of work. It's more work than doing a regular podcast. So it doesn't have a set schedule. It'll kind of release whenever we have time to put the effort into it. But we both really enjoy it. So it'll come out more frequently than Horror Mafia. That's what I'm saying. We're just gonna make fun of Joey until he feels so guilty that he has to record.
That he actually listens to this.
Oh yeah, you're right. He don't listen to this. I can talk all the shit I want.
He's like, fuck Derek. He gave me things.
Yeah. And then shit. I also started another podcast, which is called Atomic Age Saucercast, where we're going to talk about that atomic age of movies. That you saw mostly in the 50s, a little bit in the 40s, a little bit in the 60s, mostly in the 50s, of all those great science fiction movies. The first one we did was from 1959 called Invisible Invaders, and I am joined by Court Psyops from Cinema Psyops and Darren Wilson from the Psychosemantic podcast as we dig into these movies and how they represent our fears of communism and the nuclear arms race. So that's really fun. If you dig old school science fiction movies, definitely come check that out with us. You will have a good time. We don't get deep political, but there are some political jabs in there. But it's not like Psychosemantic podcast where it gets super deep. It's just as it pertains to the movie, we talk about it. So it's more like about communism. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. For Kill the Cast, we put out our Horror Coliseum for the summer. which was, of course, Jaws 3D versus Jaws the Revenge. That was a fun fucking episode, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. You have to check it out because I say that Jaws the Revenge is the Hereditary of shark movies, and you need an explanation for that? Well, you'll have to listen. It was a lot of fucking fun, and I'm really surprised with the reaction I got out of Jay and Kenneth for these two movies. And then the next episode of Kill the Cast is a bonus episode where we're going to jack the Fresh Cuts deal and actually do a review of it, Chapter 2, which I think it'll actually come out before Fresh Cuts, but definitely check out Fresh Cuts because, let's be honest, no one, and I mean fucking no one, actually goes and see the movies 4 times to review it in 2 days like Mr. Venom does. So he gets you those details you are not getting anywhere else if you went and saw it opening weekend. So definitely go check that out. We'll be dropping ours also. And I don't know what the next official big episode of Kill the Cast is after that, but we are coming back with Jerry Hates Action dropping this month on the fucking Matrix. We are doing the first Matrix movie for Jerry Hates Action because that's Jay's favorite movie of all time, and I think it sucks. So that's gonna be fun. Now, I haven't seen it since like the early 2000s. Have I changed my mind? Will I still think they just ripped off a bunch of shit from Ghost in the Shell? We will find out. I think that's about it. I don't know what I've got coming up next. We haven't picked what the next topic for a lot of the shows are. Playing it by ear right now. So fuck yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for listening to our Visions from Monsterland.
Stay away from those rockets in your ass.
Don't put rockets in your ass, and don't eat pearls. Fuji marry me. Make sure you have proper back support when you're carrying a bunch of presents for a girl who won't have sex with you. Simple things like that. Make sure you got back support, guys. We love y'all. Don, hit him with that Shriyank real quick.
Shriyank.
Yeah, Shriyank. I said Shriyank because I want a Shriyank. Yeah, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop embarrassing myself and my co-host and everything like that. Thank you all for listening. And please, if you love Venom and I, please go check out Cult Unknown. If you have any interest in that kind of topic, go check it out. I know you want to hear shit about Bigfoot. It's like an hour and 45 minutes long. So fucking get deep with us. Talk about theories. Can Bigfoots camouflage themselves? Find out. And that's it. We are out. Love all you guys. Peace, love, and I don't know. Comma chameleon?
Yeah, why not?
His eyes are crossed.
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Helming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick 6 Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, 2 Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.